Hi, welcome to our podcast, Luxury Space Gay Communists. We changed the name from Barely Even Friends. We'll see how this goes for now. We're still not friends. I'm here with June and Camel today. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, comrades. Hope you guys are having a wonderful fall morning, or if you're watching in the future. Hopefully you're safe.
Camel, are you there? Are you alive?
I can go into the bathroom. Hi, I'm Camel.
Cool. Okay. What do you want to talk about first?
I mean, I actually haven't listened to what you guys talked about in the Rittenhouse trial, so if you guys want to, we can just dive on that for a second. Yeah.
We just talked about white supremacy the whole time, then Harris said that how the laws are set up in the U.S. are stupid, so it makes sense that he got off, because also the judge wasn't showing like a lot of things as well.
Yeah, and now there's the Tucker Carlson interview with the Rittenhouse as well. So he is getting famous off of the whole incident.
He wants to, yeah, of course he is.
Yeah.
He wants a little fan base. He's trying to turn his murder into money.
I was watching the interview, and he was mentioning how he was actually there for both sides, supposedly, and that he was just protecting businesses. But I don't know. I mean,
that's what the Boogaloo Boys were saying last year. Remember, they were like,
exactly.
"We're supporting BLM, and we're supporting protecting other people and like the businesses." But the Boogaloo Boys are fascists. They're just they're accelerationists.
Exactly.
Who are they protecting things from?
The blacks and the whites who are causing. Actually, it's funny. Like everyone who ever starts the riots and shit, it's always white people in those videos.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just mad, bro. We're just mad.
I think you guys just wanted a reason to break stuff.
Yeah, we don't get that chance, dude.
Just during sports events. When you got your team loses.
Oh yeah, dude, it was wild. Well, it's funny because people I talked to in the Philly suburbs were all against like BLM, but when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they like destroyed the city of Philadelphia, and it was all like the white people.
BLM,
like it was bad.
Yeah.
Well, there was also videos of police like fucking dropping pallets of bricks off.
Yeah,
I remember that. That was fucking funny.
Yeah, I mean, like in Pittsburgh, there was one where like, what happened was like there's this major road in Pittsburgh that like BLM was marching down, and it was completely peaceful. And then I think there's a similar situation where like some like stuff was like left on the side of the road, and they left like a cop car like in the pathway of BLM, like let's say like 100 yards down, like unmanned cop car, no one was in it. And then, like, some white kid comes up and, like, smashes the cop car. And that's when, like, the cops start, like, coming out with, like, rubber bullets and pepper spray and whatnot.
It was all a trap.
I mean, personally, I think it was a trap. I mean, they left it. Who leaves an unmanned cop car right in the route they know the BLM is going down?
It's always the white person causing trouble. Because I remember, like, there was always, like, the organizers and stuff saying that leave the police alone and shit. And, like, some white person would go up there and start shit.
Yeah, no, exactly. I kind of, it's a bit disgusting to see a bit of, like, the revisionist history. Because I think even that night in Kenosha, I don't even think there was... I think it was a mostly peaceful protest until the police escalated, from what I've heard. But
the situation like everywhere, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think it was like some stat where like 90% of BLM protests were like completely like peaceful, like no businesses are burned, and it's like I don't know. And then the people, and like there's something disgusting about the people who are like the only good way to protest is to get like beat up by cops and show that on TV.
I honestly just think because of COVID, all these white people were bored and needed things to do.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like...
Because remember, they were protesting the fucking lockdowns, but that wasn't going anywhere. They didn't get to break shit. They walked around with fucking AKs and shit.
Exactly. I think it was a mix of multiple factors. I think there were almost happened. There had been the protests prior.
True.
I mean, like other years, like Ferguson up in flame. There's like Black liberation riots in general. I think there were like infiltrators, whether it was like cops or fascists. And, yeah, I think there were some like white kids who came to break shit. That was a mix of all three.
Yeah. Some people wanted to go out there and riot.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Something I was thinking about is like, do you like? I guess I wonder like what, like you know how like there is like kind of like the right wing response is like, oh, they're burning down their own neighborhoods. Like, what do you think is the actual impact of some of the small businesses destroyed?
As you know, I'm anti-small business, like a good Marxist.
Exactly. Yeah.
To quote Fred Hampton, you can't fight capitalism with black capitalism. You can only fight capitalism with socialism and racism with solidarity.
Exactly. I mean, even of small business owners, I think only like 2% or less are black. So it's not like they're black small business owners. It's not even like a black capitalism. Like,
yeah, it's like isn't most of those businesses in like black neighborhoods owned by like other minorities as well and white people?
Yeah, it's usually the thing. Yeah, I was kind of like checking. Like there was no like unemployment increase in Minnesota when BLM started, and then unemployment was actually going down. So it seems like kind of like a myth. That's like.
Well, too, like the whole COVID thing, I think.
Yeah.
As well,
exactly.
But, I met a lot of people moved to Arizona from like the Midwest like last year. I noticed, and this year.
Oh, really?
Like it was like a lot of black people I met who recently moved from the Midwest to Arizona.
I actually knew a black person who moved from Pittsburgh to Arizona. Like,
yeah, people need to stop moving to Arizona. It's getting too goddamn expensive.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking, so like the whole so all the protests and stuff, a lot of it seemed like I didn't go to any of them, to be honest, but there was like a couple of small protests near me. And then like the Midwest always has like riots and shit about, like, remember in the 60s that like there were so during the Vietnam War, there was someone got assassinated, and then there was like massive riots in like Detroit, and the army made sure not to tell any of the black soldiers, like not to tell any of the black soldiers about what was going on. And
Jesus, damn, yeah, the Detroit riots, those are wild. I think from what I've heard.
Yeah, there's also like the LA riots.
Yeah, LA riots. Was that in the 90s?
Yeah, the LA riots were in the 90s after what was his name?
Rodney King.
Yeah,
Rodney
there we go.
King.
Like, I think they also have fucking insurance. Fuck, all these businesses have insurance. Property can be replaced. Who gives a shit? Is my opinion.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think you need to be strategic with the property you attack. But I think it's very disgusting that it's like people are acting like property is some sacred thing that can't be touched.
Mark said something about liberals always crying about brick and mortar.
He did say something about that. No, you are right. Yeah.
But they never complain when poor people get absolutely fucking wrecked.
Exactly. And for the people who compare BLM, the people who are like, oh, BLM and Hong Kong protests are the same. Personally, I mean, I think the Hong Kong protesters targeted like subway stations and shit, which are like places that the working class uses. But I never saw BLM protesters attack like working class locations. It was attacking like the police barracks and businesses. So it was like,
It was funny in Arizona. They rioted in the only rich area of the so they went to the like richest part of Phoenix and destroyed the white people's mall. So the very next day they locked down the whole state.
Yeah, that happened in Tulsa. They fucking they rioted at one of the fucking malls near here.
No, the thing is though, the protests were like not even near that mall. People went there later. And like that's where remember Jake Paul and all them? Oh, Jake Paul went to that. Yeah. What? So like the protests weren't even near that mall. They went to that mall later.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, there were protests like downtown and shit here, and then like later on in the night, there were like these other kind of protests at the mall. And
yeah, they wanted to steal shit.
Yeah, and they ended up breaking some windows and I think stealing some shit. I'm not sure, but that was about it.
And that was cool.
They didn't riot near the Best Buy near me, so I couldn't get any free stuff.
Ah, shit.
Unironic.
Yeah.
Fucking shame.
In Pittsburgh, what was cool is there was like a day where like the organizers like going around like tagging businesses that were, I guess, deemed racist. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they decided, but they like tagged them, and then that night they went out and like those businesses were the ones that got targeted.
So when I was going to the protest against Trump in Tulsa,
all 10 people.
No, there were like a lot of people, and like a fuck ton of people. And when I was walking down there, because there's shit parking down there, so I had to park like I had to park like 3 or 4 fucking miles out and I had to walk all the way down there. On the way there, all these businesses were like their shit was all boarded up and stuff. So these like Zoomers were just painting like pretty pictures on the fucking plywood boards. And on the little maps of downtown that they have around there, like, oh, you were here. This is where the nearest Starbucks is, so you can buy some overpriced bullshit. They were like painting that shit too. It was fucking cool.
That was cool. It was cool, yeah. Love them Zoomers.
I love fucking Zoomers. They're the best, dude.
Yeah.
They're not a bunch of damn doomers like fucking millennials.
What about all the Nazis?
Okay, except them.
I guess technically you guys are both millennials, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'm a sort of Zoomer.
And you're like in between.
In between.
What do you like?
It's like all the Zoomers have like a fascist phase.
Yeah, that was a thing. I didn't have that phase, but of plenty of the white Zoomers, it seemed to be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but that's besides the fact. Since Thanksgiving's coming up.
Yeah.
You want to talk about decolonization?
Yeah. I think Thanksgiving is coming up. Just spend the day how you want to spend it, but I feel like it's a good day to bring up the colonial history of the land we live on with your family, with your friends, whoever you're spending it with. And it's important to acknowledge.
Yeah, then we have to plan to deport all the white people by camel.
Exactly.
Do I get a free trip to
the Gulag?
The Gulag? Gulag in Europe?
No, you can go to Britain.
I hate you so fucking much. No! I don't want to go. See, this shit I don't really like about Thanksgiving, and there's really something I don't like about how all this colonial shit's been
whitewashed.
Whitewashed, and then it gets commodified. So it's like, oh, this is your day to eat fucking turkey. Wow, why can't we have turkey all year round? And
be thankful for the natives who helped the people on the Mayflower before they got exterminated.
Yeah. So there was this barber shop down kind of by where my dad lives that was they were trying to get a bunch of food so that homeless people can come in and eat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a church or anything. It was just a barber shop. So all the people who worked there were like, hey, we should we've got a gigantic fucking barber shop. Let's bring in a bunch of homeless people and feed them. Which would have been nice If homeless people actually showed up in large numbers, so they just decided to eat the food themselves with whoever else came along. Like, my dad was literally walking around down there fucking trying to get people to come over. But
they probably should put up signs and, like, look for some people beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
That happens.
True.
Yeah, if we're speaking about decolonization, we need to talk about how based Robert Mugabe was.
Hit me with the facts.
Do you want to explain everyone who Robert Mugabe was?
I just don't think people understand. I mean, he's often called the Hitler, the Adolf Hitler of Africa, and it couldn't be further from the truth. He was well liked by the British for a long time. So the situation in Rhodesia was, or Zimbabwe, was complicated. There was the settler conflict and settler colonialism of Zimbabwe. Rhodesia, the white Rhodesians took independence, I think, in the 60s, and there was a war between the Africans and the white settlers. But eventually, under, I think, Thatcher, she agreed that she would pay, essentially after Zimbabwe got their, like, independence, that she would pay all the white settlers for their land. And this wasn't, like, people who had, like, this wasn't, like, yards. Like, these people had, like
acres.
Tons of acres of land. Like, how it worked would be like, you would ride on a horse for a day, and however far you could get would be like how much land you got. So these, like, people had, like, football fields of land. And then, so, like, the 10 plus years goes by, and, like, pretty much England's like, fuck that, we're not doing anything. And they're like, yeah, colonialism's in the past. And then, so Mugabe was actually kind of like a centrist, and was kind of like, you know, I don't know if we can really, like, take back the land. But there's, like, a popular surge of, like, Africans to, like, take back the land. So this is what happens when you hear the stories of, like the white people getting attacked in Zimbabwe, which is, like, rare. But there were, like, African people going out and, like, attacking the white settlers. So then he starts, like, what do you call it? Like, not repatriation. I don't know. The taking back of land from the white settlers. And that goes on for a while. But it's, like, people who own, like, massive amounts of land, like, not, like, it wasn't like he kicked out white people. It was like, if you owned, like, hundreds of acres of land, it got taken from you. I think even, like, the largest landowner, who was, like, the president earlier, still lives in Zimbabwe, and, like, has, like, all, like, black plantation workers there still. But anyway, so then Zimbabwe gets to, like, fucked with, like, sanctions from the US and England, and they live in a state of hyperinflation. And now the policies of land retribution is over, and Mugabe is dead. But was an interesting case study.
Didn't he die recently? Like, he was president pretty much until, like, a couple of years ago, and there was, like, something.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's loved in Zimbabwe. I think, like, I mean, I forget the stats, but it was like health statistics, like, doubled, like, literacy rates increased. Like, I mean, it wasn't effective because, like, all the land that got taken back became, like, co-ops for black people. And there was, like, this, like, myth that's like, oh, black people don't know how to farm. That's when you, like, white people have the farms. But it's, like, funny because, like, they're owned by, like, white people, but it's, like, black people work the farms still. So then they essentially took out the landlords.
Because after slavery ended, what happened was all these slaves knew how to, like, grow crops and stuff, but none of the white farmers did. So they just had, like, a thing where it was sharecropping, which was, like, you know, like, landlordism, more or less. Where they just kept working the land, but now they just get paid a little bit, and, like, some of the money, like, most of their shit gets taken by the landlord.
Exactly. It's like feudalism, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my rant.
There's a lot of people worried, a lot of the whites are worried about decolonization in America.
Yeah. It is a worry.
Do you have any, are you worried about that, Camel?
Not really. Because I'm so poor that even if it was just headed by a bunch of, like, fucking ethno-nationalists, which it's not, like, What the fuck would they do? Oh, they'd move me to, like, a country across the fucking ocean. Wow.
Lots of things like
I get a change of scenery.
Really, no decolonial movement has been like. I don't know. Like, has there authentically been a decolonial movement that been like an ethnocide?
I don't think so.
I mean,
you just let all the people stay.
The closest
and, like,
thing
people
like
leave because they're not in
Algeria,
charge.
yeah, they all stay. I think it's usually it's like the massive landowners that get kicked out, and it's like, yeah, if you're just like a regular person, it's usually like fine, you stay. It's like whatever.
Except in Haiti, but that's a whole another story with the slave revolt and like the French wanted to re-enslave them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I don't feel well equipped to speak on decolonization in the U.S. But I think there is some stat where it's like 40+% of the land is federally owned, and it's like 40+% is owned by white landowners, and then it's like 2% is owned by like Black and Indigenous people.
So pretty much like 90% of the land's owned by white people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of the federal land's out west. And then the reservations are like more or less just little parts of states.
A lot of the federal land was like all the land is legally taken, but wasn't like the federal land like out west, like especially was like taken from tribes?
Yeah, because that was more of a genocide, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because they went to war with like several different tribes.
I know, like, so there isn't like a lot of federal land out east, but there's like Shenandoah Park in Virginia. I know that was like there used to be, I believe, like a indigenous group that would live there, and then like Teddy Roosevelt like kicked them out to build a national park there.
Yeah, all the federal land east was so Andrew Jackson, when he became president, he paid off all the national debt by selling all the federal land to Europeans.
Nice.
Jesus Christ.
And that's why that's why on the other side of the Mississippi there's like hardly any federal land.
Makes sense. There's like none out here.
And then like Oklahoma, so they forced all the tribes on like the southeastern United States into Oklahoma later in the Trail of Tears. Yeah, Andrew Jackson there.
And then later on they came and were like, "Hey, white people, you guys want some land?"
Yeah. Then they did some contests.
Yeah. And one of the things about Oklahoma is that the reason it's called like the Sooner State is because people cheated during the fucking contest.
Yeah, because everyone, there's like plots of land and you put your flag in there or whatever to get the land.
Yeah, people just went ahead of the fucking when is it? You know, the scheduled time to like go in there.
Yeah, of course.
I think that happened in like Pennsylvania too. The way settlers take land is so weird, but I think there was some like agreement they made with the indigenous where it was like, I keep getting this wrong, but I think it was something like, you guys can have as like much land as like you can like run in a day. But they did something where they essentially made it like a relay and like put people all around like the state of Pennsylvania and like carved it out.
Fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Martin Luther King has like a pretty good quote about the reason why there's so much income inequality and like poverty in the black community is because first black people came here by force, were enslaved, and weren't paid for their work. Then every other immigrant group got free land from the government, like the Europeans.
Yeah.
And then after the black people were freed, they weren't given anything.
Yeah. No fucking... How many acres was it? 40 acres and a mule?
40 acres and a mule.
Yeah, and they weren't even given that.
I heard apparently that was like, I could be wrong here, but I heard that was apparently like a myth, the 40 acres and a mule thing. Like, that was never an authentic.
So, one of the generals promised it to the slaves who's freeing it. I think it was Sherman. Yeah. Like, there was plans for like reparations and stuff that just never happened.
Yeah. Have you guys heard about the Lincoln 10% plan?
No.
Well, this shit is wild. So to get you an idea how great Lincoln's we call it Reconstruction plans were post Civil War. This is how the Confederacy rejoined the Union. Was that after the Emancipation Proclamation, he pretty much said 10% of voters from every state in the South had to agree to pledge allegiance to the Union and the Emancipation Proclamation, and they're back in. So that was 10%. That means 90% of people could say fuck the Union.
Yeah.
And they get back in.
That seems like a problem.
Yeah, it might have been. I also find it wild is that John Brown, I'm just spewing random shit, but John Brown got the first federal execution in U.S. history for treason. And then, what's his name? Jefferson Davis, who also committed treason by starting a civil war, got 2 years in prison.
2 years?
Yeah, 2 years.
Fuck.
Okay. So the 40 Acres and a Mule, it was a federal order, number 15, proclaimed by William Sherman. And then field orders followed several series of conversations between the Secretary of War and radical Republicans. So yeah, the government actually did promise every black people 40 acres and a mule.
Okay. I'm spewing shit then.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that too, where people say that's like a myth or whatever, but it turns out it isn't.
Then we need to get our fucking 40 acres and a mule. Well, you need to get it.
Yeah, I know, with interest.
With interest.
Yeah, it's been like 150 years.
I see nothing wrong with that. There's so much land that's not even being fucking used out here in Oklahoma anyways.
I don't want to live in Oklahoma. That place sucks.
But it's comfy. I mean, the fucking summers suck ass, but hey, whatever. You know?
Mm-hmm. Oklahoma belongs to the indigenous.
True.
Oh yeah, did you hear Malcolm X's daughter died?
I didn't hear about that. That's sad.
Damn. It's fucked.
Rest in peace. Rest in power.
I really don't even know what decolonization will look like in the U.S.
I have no idea. It's complicated, I think, because in other countries, Southern colonialism, like in Algeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, or I think even like Palestine, is like the Southern populace hasn't like completely taken over the majority of the population, but in like the U.S. and Australia, as it's like two examples come to my head. Canada, yeah, it's a weird situation. The Anglo settlers, yeah,
they finished the genocide mostly.
Yeah. Something I find like I was thinking about this the other day, like just thinking about the maths of the devastation in the Americas is that like, you know how it's like right wingers or liberals will be like, oh, it wasn't genocide, it was like disease. But it's like, you know, I argue that we're all the same human race on the planet. So why didn't like smallpox kill out 90% of Europeans? Is my question.
Oh, you know what's funny too is so they had been isolated for so long, they weren't exposed to smallpox. But like the African slaves already knew how to prevent smallpox. And so, like, the slaves invented vaccinations, and, like, some white guy took the credit for it when he saw slaves doing it.
That's fucked.
Yeah, so, like, someone gets smallpox, so what they would do is scrape a little of the pus and just, like, a wound of a healthy person, so they get a weaker infection.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's how inoculation started.
Yeah.
So, yeah, black people invented vaccines.
Goddamn. No wonder why white people are saying anti-vaccine.
It's also funny, the reason why Europe couldn't conquer Africa is because it was all the tropical diseases they weren't used to. Until the 1900s.
Hey, it wasn't just the disease. They lost some decisive battles in Africa. I think the British got some trouble by the Ashanti. There was like the Zulu who beat back the settlers there, and the Italians were barely ever able to conquer the Ethiopians.
Did they? I don't think they ever did.
There's like something. There's like some battle they won, but I think there was like one thing that was funny was that there's this Italian general who like came there and he was like, "We're gonna put the emperor in the zoo after we win." That was like in the early 1900s or like late 1800s. Oh, no. And then like it's fucked up. And after the battle, the Ethiopians like took him, and I think they like enslaved him or something. But it's funny shit.
Oh, I saw a meme the other day where, Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, you know the one dude, the right-wing libertarian guy who hates the government?
He's like the
whole meme format. What?
He's like one of the main characters, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
You know the meme format where he's in Home Depot and the employee comes up and he says, "I know more than you."
Yeah.
Someone made a meme of it where a European missionary goes to Ethiopia to spread Christianity, and he was like, I know more than you.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I fucking hate missionaries.
Well, because, Ethiopia has been Christian longer than fucking Europe has.
Exactly. I think they've had a vibrant Islamic, Jewish, and Christian cultures for millennia.
Yeah, exactly. Like, their Christianity is kind of special too, because it's like, their Orthodox is like a little bit different, because it's like, because they got cut off from the rest of the Christian world after the Arab conquest of North Africa.
Yeah. I think they have like the most like books or whatever in their Bible, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, they do. Apparently they also have the Ark of the Covenant.
Really? That is different.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, well, speaking of Ethiopia, I'm really putting all my hope and prayers to Ethiopia in the current situation.
Yeah, because they're in a civil war right now.
Yeah.
It looks kind of it's not gonna end well for anyone, to be honest.
What's happening in Ethiopia?
It's bad. So what happened? I mean, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I think essentially the rundown is I'm gonna go back in history. There was the Empire. The Emperor was shitty. There was a revolution. It was like a Marxist-Leninist state for like 10 years or more, and then that collapsed. And I think like the TPLF took over in like the 90s, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Like the 2000s. Yeah, and then so
they rolled until yeah.
So Ethiopia is like it's like very multi-ethnic, like very like multi-religious, like this society, and I think technically it's supposed to be like it's like kind of like a confederation. Different ethnic groups are supposed to have the right to leave whenever, or something like that. Anyway, so the Tigray take over, and there's a civil war of Eritrea, and Eritrea gets independence, and this is like the time when Ethiopia is like notably like impoverished. I think the Oromo are in the south, and like so the Tigray live like I guess like more prosperitily than the Oromo in the south, and that's like like just like when like Ethiopia is notably one of the poorest countries in Africa, that specifically affected certain ethnic groups, and then the TPLF came out of power in like was it 2015 or something? You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now this guy named Abiy is in power. So he's from
there was like some protests in 2018 that got him in power.
Yeah, and now after like 3 years, the TPLF is launching a civil war. They're saying that they're being like ethnically cleansed by both Eritrea and Ethiopia. I don't know, but there's statements that's like things are happening on both sides. It seems like the U.S. does support the TPLF. And they're marching into the capital right now. The president or prime minister, everything. Abiy is saying he's going to lead the counteroffensive against them, but it's looking like a pretty bloody civil war from the looks of it already. Yeah, it's a strategic location, I think, between the U.S. and China dynamic. It's right on the Red Sea and the Horn of Africa. Next to it, adjacently. Also, Ethiopia, I think, has like the most Chinese investment in sub-Saharan Africa. And also there's a dam project that Ethiopia and Egypt are fighting over that
that's what I was thinking about originally.
Yeah.
It was like, how is it going to affect that?
Yeah, I think that's all
because I for sure knew about that shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I could see this as like, I think Ethiopia could completely balkanize or break up after this.
Well, some of them want to have more of a confederation, more local power.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because there's like a coalition who has like different goals from each other, fighting against the federal government.
Yeah, I think there's like there's a large part of Ethiopia that has a small population, the Somali part. I think wants to join Somalia, which Somalia is also broken up into different regions right now. Anna, do you know? I've heard that the Tigray might want to leave. Wait, do you know what they want to do?
I think no. From what I remember is that coalition just doesn't want him in power, and they want to like turn into a confederation, like just a weaker central state.
Yeah, and I think of Abiy
like autonomy.
I don't think there's really a good guy in this situation. I don't think Abiy. I don't think it's like he's. It's not like It's not like there are bad things he isn't doing, but the people are leading the civil war against him were in power for like 10+ years.
And they're kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and they're fucked up. And the U.S. backs them, and the U.S. is definitely not the good guy here, and they should be opposed. But it is really tragic because Ethiopia has been kind of like a success story the last few years.
I think it's interesting because it doesn't seem like so the protests were like backed by the U.S. like 3 years ago, and I guess he just wasn't doing what they wanted.
Yeah. Oh, they put Abiy in power.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So it's like I think this happens a lot. This happens all the time in Africa. But I think even we still know if the U.S. was behind the Haitian assassination or not. I mean, it seems pretty clear the U.S. had some hand in it. But it was like the guy who got assassinated at one point was like one of the U.S.'s dogs. But I think with like the Abiy case, it's like the U.S. put him in power because they weren't happy with the other guy. But it's like, for so many African leaders, it's like so hard to like turn down the Chinese deals. They're so much better, like economically.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you end up like going to China, and the U.S. is like the U.S. will fuck you over unless you do like everything they say, and like even then you usually get fucked over. I mean, like look at the Afghanistani government.
Yeah, because China doesn't like the U.S. makes you get the IMF deals where you have like really high interests, and like they force you to take austerity and like
the structural adjustment program.
Every resource from your country.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what you think about China's programs, it's just like it's strictly better what the U.S. and IMF do. Yeah, there are just some really weird situations. Like I think in like the Liberian Civil War, it's something I've been trying to more familiarize myself with. But it was like there was this guy named Samuel Doe who was like Liberia has always been a U.S. puppet state, especially against like socialist movements in Africa. And especially an American puppet state. But like there was one time where like there was a president named Samuel Doe who was like kind of an American dog, and then this guy got released from like a U.S. federal prison and like somehow ended up in Liberia, like started like a really bloody civil war, and like he was like backed by America, and he got in power, and then America backed like someone else against him again.
That's what America does. They play both sides.
Yeah. I mean, the kind of like the destabilization, get the resources out, make sure that the guy's involves everything. Any other updates that are going on around the world?
I can't think of nothing.
Any elections? I mean, are any of you guys following what's happening? I mean, Vera has been interesting to have here, but I've barely been following the Belarusian Polish situation. Well, that seems to be pretty serious right now.
There's fucking Polish soldiers on the border.
Yeah, well, there's like I think both Britain and Russia have like special forces on opposite sides of the border.
Yeah, because Belarus was gonna send a whole bunch of people over to the EU for leverage.
Yeah. And now the Polish nationalists are rallying against that.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking fascist.
Yeah. And there's something about, like, I think, do like Russia or Germany cut off like the natural gas lines to Europe as well?
What I remember is Russia's been, they haven't cut them off per se, they've been reducing the amount of gas they've been sending to Europe.
That's interesting, yeah.
Russia's not saying it's not, Russia, they say it's not on purpose, and Europe's like, it's on purpose.
Shit, yeah, I mean to read it more, but that's a shit, that's a bad situation. Right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's weird because I think Nord Stream 2, like the pipeline, just got finished. But from what I was reading, it seems like Germany, like it just got finished this year, and it seems like Germany might go back to the U.S. natural gas.
It's really weird that So we're supposed to be moving away from fossil fuels, and natural gas is like a little bit cleaner, but it doesn't really make any sense to rely so heavily on it. Since it still releases a whole bunch of methane.
Yeah, I think it's honestly, I think the extraction of natural gas is actually worse than oil, if I recall correctly.
You have to,
like fracking.
Because fracking, you have to push like a shit ton of water in there.
Yeah. I honestly, even though like in a capitalist way, I'm a skeptic seeing that the capitalists move off of natural gas and oil anytime soon.
They don't make enough money from renewables.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, renewables aren't profitable. Because, like, solar power will actually go in the negative.
Yeah. I mean, I think they will switch to minerals in certain things, but I honestly think, I think they will, like, in a back, like, oil extraction, aren't they, like, tar sands and stuff you get from, like, deep in the ocean? Extraction methods.
Remember how Obama was like, they made the U.S. the #1 oil producer? That's because of the new ways to extract oil from like harder places to reach.
Yeah.
So it was more expensive. But in 2014 when or 2013 when the oil price crashed, that was on purpose from OPEC to put out all the American extractions and refineries out of business. But all it did was close out all the weaker ones, and they just became more efficient at extracting oil.
It sounds like more of a monopoly.
Yeah, it caused more of a monopoly.
I love capitalism.
I love capitalism. I love capitalism. Please.
Please end this already.
People are gonna say because OPEC is not a not a business or people or whatever. It's a state. It's not capitalist. No, it's fucking capitalist.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I hate that. I hate that logic.
Yeah, exactly. It also really fucked over Venezuela.
Yeah. Crash.
Yeah, the oil crash. Because Saudi Arabia and Russia were like fighting with each other as well.
Yeah, didn't it fuck over even Russia too, right?
Yeah, it did. It also fucked over Saudi Arabia.
And Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucked over everyone.
Yeah.
For like 4 years.
Very well talked about, yeah. It's interesting that it's like all the, almost all the countries that are able to withstand the U.S. the most are most willing to go against our like oil countries.
Well, they all have oil.
Yeah.
Because pretty much they don't rely on Saudi Arabia or like the Middle East for the oil. Because either they're there or they have their own oil supply.
Exactly, yeah. If only Nigeria could join them.
Is Nigeria in OPEC?
I don't know if they're in OPEC. I know they're the largest oil producer, I think, in Africa. OPEC countries. It is an OPEC. It is.
Oh, yeah, because I kind of figured.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have like a monopoly. Well, they have 40% of the global production of oil.
Nigeria.
No, I mean OPEC.
Oh, yeah.
And they have 81% of the proven oil reserves.
That was interesting.
It's the U.S. doesn't even get most of its oil from OPEC. It gets it from Canada and Mexico.
Yeah,
actually, I think the U.S. became one of the largest oil exporters as well.
Oh, damn.
Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. Yeah, the future of energy will be an interesting one.
Hopefully,
China makes a breakthrough in this fusion energy thing.
Yeah, the whole well, because fusion too, you can start producing new atoms, like new materials as well.
It'd be wild. I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
that'd be wild.
I don't know if you produce that much though.
Probably not. It depends, because you're smashing because you smash hydrogen together, you helium and other things. You like
nucleosynthesis. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, see, you'd be better off doing that shit in space. But at that point, you just go and find a fucking rock that's just floating around out there, and you just bring it here.
Yeah, asteroid mining.
The only thing you might need to use nucleosynthesis for would be like really rare materials that only get formed because of fucking supernovas.
The sun dying?
No, supernovas. Specifically, very gigantic stars exploding.
Yeah,
them dying. Stars dying.
Yeah. Part of me can't help but feel
like the real
part of me can't help but feel this to be really dangerous.
Do what?
So part of me feels like this would have to be dangerous. I know it isn't, right? Fusion stuff. Yeah.
Well, on the one hand, it's probably there's less toxic waste.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is it's just a gigantic.
I'm afraid it will accidentally produce a black hole.
Yeah. That's not how it works. The fusion. That's why you need really power. I don't have the mass that the sun has. So the sun has, so that's why stars don't just explode or collapse into black holes. So
they usually do that when they start dying.
Yeah, but that's really, really big ones. Something like our sun would just get kind of big and fat, and then kind of its skin off. The sun won't explode.
So the key to fusion energy is being able to contain it.
Something like that. You need to get temperatures high enough or a cheap enough cost, starting cost.
Yeah.
And then you need to be able to keep that reaction going, and to do that you need really good magnetic fields and shit like that. And there's a number, I'm not sure what the name of the number is, but the closer once you hit 1, you're getting a return on your energy investment, and once you get above that, you're getting more returns.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And if you get enough returns, it could snowball. I'm guessing. I'm not certain.
Oh,
because they could power itself.
Bomb.
Yeah, it would be basically be able to power itself as long as it has enough fuel.
Yeah.
And if it can power itself and power other fusion reactors, then you can go from there.
Socialism.
The issue is waste heat. What the fuck do you do with all the waste heat? Right?
What does waste heat mean?
Okay, so because we have to transfer power from one place to another, and because we have electrical lines and shit like that, and because the temperatures we're operating at are literally millions of fucking degrees, it produces a lot of heat that just can't get used by the system.
Yeah.
Waste. And this heat, it'd be nice to try to suck up all this heat and use it to further the fucking boilers that spin the turbine that run the fucking alternator that power everything. But that's not always going to be possible. So on Earth, that's not so much of an issue because you can just cool it with water.
Yeah.
But if you really want fucking overpowered fusion reactions, you want to get that shit in space.
Well, how do you get the power back down?
You use a really powerful set or a very large microwave laser, and you shoot it at specific solar collectors that suck the power up.
Honestly, it's kind of blowing my mind right now.
Across the fucking solar system to any point. So yeah.
Wild. I hope this is the future. I hope I live to see this.
Yeah. Under socialism, this would be very straightforward. Not easy, just straightforward to get to, because it would be in everyone's best interests to get space-based fusion.
But there's there's almost zero incentive for this in their capitalism, right?
Well,
it costs too much money to produce.
Yeah, I mean, once we run out of fucking fossil fuels, then it'll definitely will have a serious incentive for it. And
but even then, though, because I feel like in capitalism you want as labor intensive of energy source as possible, right? Because that's where all profit comes from.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And nuclear energy would be the least labor intensive energy possible.
Yeah.
They'd focus mostly on solar, wind, and hydro, and nuclear power.
Minerals,
I mean, those things are all nice and shit, but I mean, you're not gonna get wind in a place where there's no fucking wind, and there's no hydro in a fucking desert, and there's really not much power you're gonna get by having solar plants in the fucking Arctic. But fusion can power pretty much anywhere. So. And there's no radioactive fucking waste. It's all just hydrogen. So how do we get the fucking hydrogen and the helium-3 or helium-2 or whatever? We have to go to space. We have to get to space. Yeah, the moon has some helium-2 deposits.
3? I think it's helium-3.
Campbell, I like how you mentioned all the ones that don't work in certain environments, even though there's shit that would work in that environment. Desert has solar panels. The Arctic would probably have hydro, or
well, just about anywhere could have hydro as long as it's got, a good river.
Yeah.
The issue with hydro is that you're basically making a dam, or you're using a water wheel. Okay, so it'd be helium-3.
The issue with a lot of renewables is you need battery storage.
Yeah, and
that's a lot of rare earth materials, and those are mostly in Africa and China and shit.
Yep. In Latin America. I feel like my Marxist input here is I feel like capitalism won't live long enough to have to make this decision.
It's already trying to make it now, I think.
No, I know.
I think they'd rather watch the world burn.
So it says here in Wikipedia, the amount of helium-3 needed as a replacement for conventional fuels, so fossil fuels, are substantial by comparison to the amounts currently available. If the total amount of energy could be converted to electrical power... Okay, so... Hold on. Let's put this shit into simple English, so I don't have to, turn my brain on. Oh, it's fucking 5 sentences. Thanks.
buddy.
Hi. Okay, so what's going on?
I don't know. I was making sure I was there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at this. Materials on the moon's surface contain helium-3 at concentrations of between 1.4 and 15 parts per billion in sunlit areas, and may contain concentrations as much as 50 parts per billion in permanently shattered regions. And you just mine lunar regolith, which is literally the fucking like the dust and the sand and shit on the moon.
Amazing.
So what you would have is these giant fucking like super trucks just riding across the moon, just scooping up the shit, and then you'd be separating out the fucking helium-3 from like the aluminum and stuff like that, and the silicates, and you can use everything there.
Didn't China just set it up?
I can get back home.
Yeah. How do you get it back home? That's pretty simple. The Earth is at the bottom of a gravity well, so you just drop it onto the fucking planet.
Wouldn't it burn up in the atmosphere?
It could, but you could just put it in a box that doesn't burn.
A nice cardboard box.
When you're entering the atmosphere, you have to come in at a certain angle, or everything gets destroyed.
Well, here's what you want. You could have it come in at a really fucking basically straight down, and it would get really hot really quick. But that's pretty fucking accurate. Or you could have it come in at a really shallow angle, and it spends more time in the air, but it doesn't get as hot. So you could just have fucking literally mass drivers shoot that shit from the moon into lunar orbit, and then you could have spacecraft pick that shit up and just shoot it onto the planet.
There's already a lot of trash in the space orbit right now. We don't need any more.
This wouldn't be in orbit. This would be deorbiting it. So
yeah, I know we have a shit ton of trash right now.
Yeah,
we need to take care of that first.
No, but yes.
Yeah, because if you're going in and out of orbit, you're gonna hit the trash and you're gonna get your shit fucked up.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as we have really good observation satellites.
No, the issue is, Camel, there's so much trash right now, we're gonna reach a point where you can't even leave the Earth.
Yeah, and then eventually there's gonna be one bit of trash that gets fucking hit by another bit of trash, and it's gonna cause Kessler syndrome.
That's what you're hoping? Which
is terrifying, by the way. Consider it. All the fucking GPS satellites just getting destroyed by
a piece of trash.
By a piece of trash that collides with one other piece of trash, and then it's kind of like a chain reaction that mirrors a fucking nuclear bomb, but really slowly. So this piece of trash gets exploded into lots of pieces of trash that go and explode other pieces of trash that then,
then we go en-prem.
Yeah, we would literally have to be 1920s or 1940s level of fucking technology.
This is how Fallout starts?
No, that's how we never have a space program for another few thousand years.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Why'd it be a few thousand years?
All the trash is in orbit.
And yeah, it would have to fall out of orbit. It would have to fall out of orbit.
Goddamn. Can you get a huge magnet or something?
Nope. You can.
So humans might get us stuck here.
Yeah. So what you could do is you could have little robots, little drone things that go up and fly around and find bits of garbage and just fucking deorbit.
Recycle it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would just deorbit it, to be honest. Or you could put it into a parking orbit, in a specific area, which is what I would want to do with the International Space Station.
And it's full of, metals and rare earth materials and computer parts. So you can recycle it.
Yeah, I mean, you could. Just take it to the fucking moon, dump it on there, Nothing lives there.
That we know of.
I don't think anything lives there.
That we know of.
What could live there?
Alright, we got to this part of the podcast.
There's these little bear things that are microscopic. I forgot what they call. They serve the tea.
Tardigrades?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
tardigrades,
they can live anywhere, and like.
But they don't live. They don't live on the moon. They hibernate.
What I'm saying here is, Camel, a lot of bacteria and shit's on the shit we like send out in orbit. Bacteria, viruses, and shit. And we don't know if some of that shit can survive out there or not. And sometimes it might. And we might have contaminated the moon.
Yeah, but there's no water on the moon except like at the poles.
You do realize you don't actually need water for certain types of life.
Yeah, for like the really weird shit that's not going to become generalists. That's all going to stay as like specialists. So it's not going to like radiate that well.
Either way, that could be shit on the moon. It'd just be tiny.
Yeah.
And it'd probably be something we contaminated the moon with. Oh yeah, there's also the theory that Earth was seeded with life by asteroids.
I don't think... it's not necessary. We could have... I like the idea of abiogenesis. Because at some point, the life had to start, you know? And we've found experimentally that the basic building blocks of life are really easy to get to.
They found it also in asteroids and meteors as well.
Yeah, like fucking amino acids and shit. That's like what everything's made out of.
Yeah, they found it in like asteroids and shit. That's why people think the Earth might have been seeded with it.
I mean... But remember, asteroids and shit is just the stuff that didn't get turned into a planet. So it could have already been here when Earth formed.
It could also not have been here.
But it probably would have been here.
I like to think I feel like there's a large enough likelihood that's possible that it came from asteroids.
Also, the thing is too, Camel, the Earth collided with another planet, so beforehand.
Yeah.
And that created the moon.
Yeah.
So maybe the amino acids. So there's like a whole history of shit that we don't even know about.
Yeah, but there's the fact is that the amino acids would have been formed by the conditions of the early Earth, anyways. As long as you have the right basic elements.
Yeah, I know, but some of those elements could have been missing until asteroids or the other planet hit the Earth.
This is unlikely, because the accretion disk we were formed out of, like, would have already had all these elements. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, the elements that the accretion disk, or the elements that go into life, like 90% of the elements is, like, the really common shit in the universe that gets...
Yeah, carbon.
Created by, like, every star when it dies. Even really low mass stars. So this stuff would have been everywhere. And it is everywhere when you look out there. You know? So, I mean, it could have been all over the place here, and you just need a little bit of water and a little bit of fucking lightning, a little bit of asteroids coming in, mixing shit up, basically. You know?
There's also a theory that you could use silicon or whatever to make life.
I mean...
Because it has a similar structure as carbon.
Operate very similarly to carbon, but it would need a totally
different
kind of environment.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it would require like higher pressure or some shit.
Yeah.
What would silicon life look like?
Rock people.
Silicon-based life. It would look like life forms that we're used to, probably. But
no, they would have evolved in different conditions.
What I'm saying is that it would look alive.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, so, let's see. The element silicon has been much discussed as a hypothetical alternative to carbon. Silicon is in the same group as carbon on the periodic table, and like carbon, is tetravalent. Good. Hypothetical alternatives to water would include ammonia, which, like water, is a polar molecule and cosmically abundant, so it's all over the fucking place. And non-polar hydrocarbon solvents such as methane and ethane, which are known to exist in liquid form on the surface of Titan, which is one of the moons of Saturn. And it literally rains oil there. It rains natural gas there, so America, beware.
Yeah. We're going to war on Titan.
Yeah. Like, I was reading a fucking science fiction thing about... And it was, like, very hard sci-fi. So it looked at it was like, so we didn't figure out fusion. And even if we did, we'd still want to go to Titan because it literally rains hydrocarbons there that we can use for plastics. We could still use it for fucking fuel shit. Anyways.
Alright,
that's been a good fun sci-fi. What are you gonna say?
Oh, we've been talking for like a good hour.
Based.
We gotta, yeah.
Could wrap up now.
We can end it here. End the podcast right here, I guess.
Any last words? Final thoughts?
Study space. It's cool.
Join the Communist Party.
We have one planet we have to live on, so we might as well make it fucking communist.
Yeah, that's why we're luxury space gay communists.
Yeah, then our grandchildren will have everything that we didn't have, and that's the best shit.
Grandchildren?
Yeah.
You're gonna have grandchildren?
I mean, I might not, but someone will.
Fair enough, I guess.
Our collective grandkids.
I hate those kids.
Fuck you!
If you want to, you can join our Discord. Links in the thing. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. We're also on Spotify, iTunes. You can donate money to us on Patreon.
Yeah, we're crowdfunding to go to space.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we won't be poor, and we can do the communist thing. Alright, thanks for listening. Bye.
Yeah.